The number one talking point in the country right now is the Karnataka Hijab controversy. And we here at India Today are getting you the latest updates, both sides of the story. Now the protests aren't just restricted to Karnataka, it's spreading across the country as people are now protesting in favor of and against hijab in educational institutes. Support is pouring in for the students who are fighting in Karnataka for their right to wear the hijab. Islamic organization Tawheed Jamaat staged a protest on the streets of Chennai against hijab restrictions. In Maharashtra's Bhiwandi, the Samajwadi Party organized a signature campaign to support the female students who are protesting in Karnataka. According to the SP, over 4,400 women have signed this petition. A protest was also carried out by women wearing hijabs. Meanwhile, in Puducherry, there's a controversy that's broken out after a Muslim student was allegedly asked to remove her headscarf. Several activists gathered outside the government school where this happened to stage a protest. Protests have also reached the national capital. Students from the Muslim Students Federation held a protest in DU's North Campus. And here are some political reactions also coming in on the story.
Each and every religion has the liberty to continue their culture, their practices without being prohibited. But now in the country, some sorts of moral policing have been conducted on the sisters of our Muslim population, which certainly create a great fissure in our society. That is why we lodge the protest that government should come out and give a statement of what is their opinion on the atrocities being committed upon the Muslim girls in Karnataka and other places in the name of hijab.
जब भी हम कॉलेज में आएंगे, स्कूल में आएंगे, हम ये ड्रेस कोड पालन करेंगे. अभी तो ड्रेस कोड पालन करना है. हम जो कानून है, लॉ ऑफ द लैंड जो है, उसको मैं पालन नहीं करूंगा, ये बोलना ठीक नहीं है. इसके अलावा मैं इतना ये भी कहना चाहता हूं कि अभी विषय जो है कर्नाटक हाईकोर्ट पहुंच गया है, उसका भी हम इंतजार कर सकते हैं हम सब लोग.
ये वही नफरत का प्रतीक है जो इस केंद्र सरकार ने बाकायदा 2014 से फैलाया है. ऐसे लोगों पे एक्शन ना लेकर, राजनीति हर धर्म की बातों में घुसाकर, हर इंस्टीट्यूशंस में घुसाकर आप लोगों ने आज बच्चों तक का इस्तेमाल कर ये ध्रुवीकरण किया है. कहीं ना कहीं मैं उम्मीद करती हूँ ऐसा वीडियो देखने के बाद किसी तरीके की ग्लानि महसूस होगा ऐसी सरकार को जिन्होंने सिर्फ धर्म पे अपनी राजनीति की है और वोट बटोरा है, लोगों का बंटवारा कर करके वोट बटोरा है. और दुर्भाग्य की बात एक और है कि एक पुरुष सैफरन शॉल पहनकर, एक महिला, जो हमारा हिंदू धर्म हमें कहता है कि महिला का सम्मान होना चाहिए, आप उनकी बेइज्जती कर रहे हैं. तो आप ना हिंदुत्व के प्रतीक हैं, ना हिंदुइज्म के प्रतीक हैं.
So as I mentioned, the protests now have spread across the nation, and India Today is getting you the latest updates from different cities which have been witnessing protests for and against the hijab ban in educational institutes. Let me begin with Nolan Pinto. He's joining us live from Bengaluru. We have Pramod Madhav joining us from Chennai and Paras from Mumbai. Nolan, starting off with you, good morning. In Karnataka, of course, yesterday we saw unprecedented protests in almost all college campuses, and that's why the Bombay government has decided now to shut down these colleges for the next 3 days. Are there still going to be protests? Hopefully students now don't resort to these kind of agitations.
Well, good morning, Akshita. Now, keeping in mind what really happened yesterday, during the daytime, a former Chief Minister and Leader of Opposition, Siddaramaiah, who's currently in Goa, actually requested the government that it would be better and safer if all these colleges, pre-university colleges and degree colleges are shut for some time, and that they revert to online education so that students do not get divided more than they are already. Even D.K. Shivkumar, as the KPCC president, said that. So in the evening, after a very important meeting, the Chief Minister took this decision that for 3 days, 9th, 10th and 11th, so your classes 9, 10, 11, 12, that is pre-universities 11, 12, degree colleges will be shut. Schools will be still open. So for 3 days, so that things are calm, tempers are calm. And while the court goes about with this particular issue, dealing with this matter, The judge also made a very important point. He said that when all this is happening outside, of course the judge's mind, his mind will be disturbed and his intellect will not work. This is what the Honorable Justice Dixit actually stated. So pending an order, he has requested the public to maintain, the student community and the public at large, to maintain peace and tranquility while the court looks into this. But a very interesting debate from the academic point of view going on between the Advocate General and the petitioner's lawyer in the court. It resumes today at 2:30.
Okay, we will be tracking what happens in the Karnataka High Court as well. I just want to get in a quick update also from Chennai and Mumbai. Pramod Madhav is reporting live from Chennai this morning. Pramod, you know, the protests that have been happening in neighbouring Karnataka have spilled over to Tamil Nadu as well. Yesterday there were protests that were held, we understand, by some Muslim groups.
Absolutely, Akshita. The protest was held by Tamil Nadu Tawheed Jamaat, and they were protesting near Egmore at Chennai, and women were wearing tricolour headscarves as well, and they were claiming that this protest is about protecting the constitutional rights, and not just that, there were also certain people who were questioning that if girl students belonging to Hindu community can wear bindi, why can't Muslim women students can't wear a headscarf, and that did become a very big issue there.
Okay, let's take this across to Paris also. You know, in almost every major city right now, not just has this become the big talking point, but there are protests that have broken out also. Paris, good morning. In Maharashtra, we understand that there were some political protests also that were lined up on this issue yesterday.
Akshita, this whole matter is getting spread like a wildfire in the country, as in Maharashtra, in Mumbai. Yesterday there was a protest, but it was a peace protest done by some Muslim ladies, where they just signatured on the board that they want to wear hijab, and there was a small rally by this Muslim women in protest of this hijab ban in Karnataka. But this matter is getting more and more complicated. But as of now, there is till now there is no protest right now. But this matter is getting more and more complicated, and yesterday there was a protest in Madanpura area, where Muslim ladies got together there, and they signed on board that they want to wear hijab, and they should not ban, government should not ban hijab in the school and colleges.
Paras, Pramod, thank you very much for joining us with those details. Thanks to Nolan as well for getting us the latest updates from Bengaluru. I just want to round up for you all that happened yesterday, because we've seen unprecedented protests rock the state of Karnataka. You saw clashes breaking out, students forced to stay outside their campus because many of them were wearing saffron shawls, others in hijab, and the college administration made it very clear that they will not be allowed inside. There was an incident, of course, which I'm sure you've seen, of one Muslim girl trying to make her way inside a college when she was heckled by a group of men who were wearing these saffron shawls. All of this has prompted the Bombay government now to shut down colleges for the next 3 days.
Karnataka's campuses stand divided on religious lines. On the one side are Muslim girls who want to attend classes wearing their hijab or veil. And on the other, students who don't want any exceptions made for Muslims. Things came to a head on Tuesday as girls in hijab came face to face with students sporting saffron shawls. In Mandya, a girl was heckled on her way to college by scores of students.
They started giving slogans like Jai Shri Ram, and they were telling me to remove burqa, then you are allowed to go for college and all. So even I started screaming Allahu Akbar. So I was a little bit scared there. And then when I saw the principals, everyone was just back of me, then I was okay. We must allowed to wear this. Everyone know from long years we are carrying this. None of us the right to say us to remove this, to not to take any action. Just to tell them to not to repeat this again.
Similar face-offs were witnessed in different parts of the state, from Udupi to Kundapura to Shivamogga to Davangere. In Shivamogga, for instance, Where prohibitory orders were issued, a saffron flag was hoisted on campus. What started as a protest by 6 students at the Government Girls Pre-University College in Udupi has spread to different parts of the state. The divide is clear and out there for all to see.
Hijab, this is not a piece of cloth. For them it is like a piece of, but this is something else. We cannot just give up.
Because of these students, what they are creating a nuisance over here, we are not able to attend our regular classes. Because of them, we are having the leave now.
As matters get out of hand, the Basavaraj Bommai government has ordered the closure of all schools and colleges in the state for the next 3 days.
There has been some disturbances in few places. Therefore, I am appealing to these students that they have to maintain peace and harmony, because ultimately tomorrow they have to sit together and do all the educational activities, academic activities. Therefore, peace and harmony should be maintained.
The Karnataka High Court, meanwhile, has taken up the plea by Muslim students challenging the hijab ban on college campuses. The students argue that the hijab ban is a violation of their right to equality and their right to practice their religion. The state government has claimed college authorities decide the uniform and not the government. While the state government has urged the court to ban protests, citing a Supreme Court order on the farmer agitation, the High Court has appealed to the students to stop the protests till it takes a decision. The issue was raised in Parliament, where opposition parties staged a walkout demanding students be allowed to wear hijab.
Is hijab essential to the practice of Islam? Do individual liberties prevail over collective rights of an institution? These are some of the questions that the Karnataka High Court will be looking into when it finally decides whether or not to ban hijab. For now, the Karnataka government has bought time by shutting down colleges for 3 days. The question remains, why was this matter allowed to escalate? Along with Nagarjun, Dwarkanath and Anupai, and video journalists Shivmurthy Gurumat and Madhuwar, this is Nolan Pinto for India Today.
So we'll be focusing very closely on what plays out in the Karnataka High Court today. Remember, yesterday is when the hearing began. Today the hearing resumes at 2:30 this afternoon, and we're expecting that there will be some sort of final word, some decision by the Karnataka High Court of whether students can be allowed to wear the hijab inside their educational institutes. Let me just round up for you exactly what happened yesterday. Senior advocate Devdutt Kamath, who is appearing for the petitioner, said wearing hijab is a belief of a community, and as long as the belief is there, we simply cannot sit in judgment. The petitioner also claimed that college is indulging in religious apartheid. He's added that as a nation, we follow positive secularism. As far as the state government is concerned, the Advocate General said that colleges have autonomy on uniforms, and if girls want to wear hijabs, then they have to seek the college's nod first. While adjourning the hearing for the day, the court had appealed to people to maintain peace and tranquility in the state. The court also said that it has faith in the wisdom and virtue of the public, and it hopes that the row doesn't turn into a full-fledged agitation. This appeal came in from the High Court after protests rocked the state of Karnataka. Nolan Pinto is joining us live with more details on this. Nolan, the Karnataka High Court hearing is very crucial because it will essentially decide how things move forward now, what happens to these kind of protests, what happens in college campuses, and importantly, how the government now takes its next few steps.
Well, Akshita, the government has been waiting for an order from the Karnataka High Court as to what's to be done next. Chief Minister Bommai, the Education Minister, even the Home Minister stated that they are patiently waiting to see what sort of order comes out from the Karnataka High Court. Now, like you clearly mentioned, those are the main issues that they have been focusing on. One, whether wearing a hijab is part of their religion. Two, they're talking about their fundamental right. And three, whether the government has overstepped its rules, basically overstepped its power by actually coming out with that government order. So these are the main issues that they have been debating in the Karnataka High Court. When Justice Dixit actually saw what was happening outside, initially there was talk about why not ban protests. that is when Justice Dixit said that banning protests would actually lead to other severe, grave consequences, and he would not want to actually do that because people have the right to protest. But in spite of people having the right to protest, he says that this should happen peacefully. And since it was not happening peacefully, the government has taken a call that, well, for 3 days, colleges, pre-university institutions will be shut. What is also unnerving as of now, Akshita, is this. While the students are protesting, while this case is going on in the Karnataka High Court, the pre-university department has actually released the timetable for their exams, which starts mid-April. In fact, mathematics is their first paper on the 16th. So this is what people are actually asking them. The community at large is also asking the students why this is happening. Let them concentrate on their exams.
Okay, Nolan, we'll be tracking all that comes in this afternoon from the Karnataka High Court. For the moment, thank you for joining us. I want to now get you this report where we sum up for you all the big headlines that emerged from the Karnataka High Court hearing yesterday, even as protests raged on and unfortunately politics raged on, despite the fact that things were so tense on the ground.
Who will control this rapidly worsening situation? The heat over hijabs and the scrap over saffron shawls has made the spaces between campuses a veritable war zone. With students on the front line of a face-off drenched in communally charged imagery and words, the politics over the tension has expectedly exploded. Epicenter number one is Karnataka itself.
ಆ ಕಾರಣದಿಂದ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಕೂಡಲೇ PUC ತರಗತಿಗಳನ್ನು ಮತ್ತು ಪದವಿ ತರಗತಿಗಳನ್ನು ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಗ್ರಾಜ್ಯುಯೇಷನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ತರಗತಿಗಳನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಕೂಡಲೇ ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸಿ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಒತ್ತಾಯ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ.
As far as legality of the whole thing is concerned, we have put our case very clearly. Constitutional and legal Karnataka Education Act provisions we have been put. But however, we are waiting for the directions of the High Court. Therefore, I am appealing to these students that they have to maintain peace and harmony, because ultimately tomorrow they have to sit together and do all the educational activities.
The High Court heard the case on Tuesday, saying it would rule based on facts, not assumptions. Asking for a copy of the Quran, tensions on the ground depend on the court's verdict. And after the hijab heat reverberated in Parliament yesterday, national leaders jumped in to stir things up even more.
ये भारत है, सर्वधर्म समभाव के आधार पर चलेगा, न कि इस्लामिक स्टेट भारत को बनाने की कोशिश करने वालों की मानसिकता हम पूरा नहीं होने देंगे.
Their annual exams are in 2 weeks, but trapped now between the religious identity, campus rules, the government and the High Court, the question is, how and when will this face-off finish? Lives of students and communal harmony among the next generation is at stake. With Shija and Shivamurthy in Udupi, Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, one of the videos that triggered a massive controversy that went viral of the protests in Karnataka was of a saffron flag being hoisted up. The Congress, particularly Karnataka Congress Chief D.K. Shivkumar, claimed that the national flag was up and it was replaced by a saffron flag. The BJP is saying that the tricolour wasn't hoisted there, that the student merely put up the saffron flag directly, and it's led to a showdown between D.K. Shivkumar and the BJP. Here are all the reactions. We spoke exclusively to D.K. Shivkumar as well on this video.
A telling image of Karnataka. Hundreds of students opposed to Muslim girls' demand for permission to wear hijab go berserk. They hoist saffron flag on a pole meant for the tricolour at a government first-grade college in Shivamoga. Amidst the hijab versus saffron scarf showdown in the state, these images have sparked another political war. Karnataka Congress President D.K. Shivkumar has alleged that the saffron-clad protesters brought down the national flag and replaced it with a saffron flag. India Today confronted Shivkumar on his grave accusations.
I am just saying that if there is evidence of the Tiranga being brought down as you have charged,
it is a national flag, my friend. I am telling you, it is a national flag.
Sir, we'll put that aside for a moment. We'll wait to see if there is evidence of the Tiranga being brought down.
Yes.
My question to you now is...
If you have not got the visuals, I will post you that visuals.
The BJP hit back. Party MLA C.T. Ravi called Shivakumar a liar and challenged the state Congress chief to either provide evidence or face legal action. India Today tried to get the facts straight in the entire controversy. Local authorities told our reporter that the national flag is hoisted only on the Republic Day and Independence Day. They claimed there was no tricolour on the pole when the saffron flag was hoisted. Shivakumar, who made the allegation, hasn't responded to the BJP's dare. The Congress leader has not provided any proof to back his claim so far. Bureau Report, India Today.
Meanwhile, you have Nobel Peace Laureate Malala Yousafzai also wading into the Karnataka hijab controversy. She's tweeted condemning what's happening and saying that this is an attempt to marginalize Muslim women. Malala Yousafzai, who's spoken out time and again on issues in India, particularly on issues plaguing the minority community, has in fact took to Twitter this time to say that the move of not allowing hijab-wearing students in schools is horrifying. Malala wrote that the college is forcing girls to choose between studies and the hijab. She's added that objectification of women persists for wearing less or for wearing more. The Nobel laureate urged Indian leaders to stop marginalization of Muslim women. Remember that Malala Yousafzai, as I mentioned, has spoken time and again on these kind of issues. She herself faced a lot of discrimination and marginalization. Malala was shot in the head by the Taliban in Pakistan for 2012 for speaking up about the rights of girls and their education. She survived the attack and since then has been living in England. She moved to Birmingham in England. She won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2014.